So this is a story all about how I made £100,000 off of one email. Well, there is a little bit more to it, but that's exactly where it started. This one single email led to a negotiation, which led to a deal, which led to leverage, which led to me making a decent sum of money across a 6 months period. And let me just say, this was no crypto, no trading, or nothing illegal. We made this money by, drumroll please, renting out a warehouse space. And the craziest part about it all is we secured a 5,000 square foot warehouse in London for just £2,000 a month all in. So in this video, I'm gonna break down exactly what actually happened, how we found the warehouse and got it so cheap, how we monetized it, the numbers behind it, anything that you need to know, and the risks and business lessons that it actually taught us. Because this definitely wasn't luck. It was about negotiation, leverage, and executing a plan. So if you're new here, my name's Jordan. I'm an entrepreneur and I'm on a mission. I have a passion for helping young people, and I want to pass over everything that I know about business to give them a fighting chance in this new world. If you're 15 to 25 and you're interested in making money, learning from my mistakes, or anything under that umbrella, make sure you subscribe to the channel and let's get into it. So let's take it back to 2021. Me and my business partner, Chad, we had London Lighting popping. Like, it was going very well. We was doing a lot of shoots, but we kept going to warehouses. And these were big open spaces, nothing really special, but you could just do a lot there. And they were all charging at least £100 per hour. So once I realized that, I said, yo, I want a warehouse and I'm gonna get one by any means necessary because it made sense for us. And lo and behold, by June 2021 of that same year, me and Chad managed to secure a 5,000 square foot warehouse in Walthamstow. We decided to call it Cosmos, you know, play on the word of space. And yeah, just for some context, at that time, we already had a smaller studio in Uxbridge called Base Studios. We obviously had London Lighting, which was a lot of lighting equipment, props, things like that. And now we had about pushing towards a year in experience in the industry. For anyone in here who doesn't understand warehouse space, I need you to understand 5,000 square foot in London is serious space. Normally, you're gonna be paying in excess of £8,000 a month all in for a space like that. And that's even before you're factoring in extra costs like service charge and bills. We actually got that place for £2,000 a month, and it all started from that one email. It took me one message of asking the right question to unlock a whole new revenue stream. And that is the power that comes from negotiations and making deals. A lot of people think money comes from working harder, but a lot of the time it comes from structuring things better. So the reason that we actually got the warehouse so cheap was because I found it through a property guardian. And if you don't know what a property guardian is, I'm gonna break it down for you right now. Property guardians tend to manage vacant buildings. They'll usually do it for councils, wealthy individuals, organizations, anyone who has a business space that isn't being occupied. A property guardian will take ownership of that to make sure squatters can't get in there. Instead of leaving that building abandoned, they'll usually make temporary living quarters in there and actually place tenants in there to watch over it. And this obviously generates a revenue stream of money. A lot of these tenants tend to be under very flexible agreements, and this is where a bit of luck played into our favor. The woman that was managing the warehouse we inquired about had previously had it as living quarters, until the council told her that they needed the property back, so she stripped out all the living quarters, got it ready for the council, and guess what happened? They said, sorry, false alarm, we don't need it anymore. So now she's stuck because she's got no tenants, no living quarters, and she's got this property. How do you make money out of it? And at that time, we happened to email her. So we negotiated, we pitched her something that made sense, and it was a mutually beneficial agreement. We asked for the warehouse. She said, that's fine, as long as you give me a couple grand a month. And that was it. The only main condition was if she needed the warehouse back, we had 2 weeks notice, and that was it. Obviously being in line with her policies already. That was obviously risky for us, but that is what allowed us to negotiate such a low warehouse rent. The main lesson here is mutually beneficial relationships. The council's happy because their building is occupied. She's happy now because she has a revenue stream. And we're happy now because we have a way to make money. Everyone in that deal, everyone eats. Now, I want to let you know that this wasn't random. We didn't just suddenly wake up and think, oh yeah, let's go to a property guardian. No. That's not what happened. Do you remember when I said I was going to a lot of warehouses and I was shooting at them? There was a specific warehouse that I went to all the time, and something about it just didn't make sense to me. The person that was running it just didn't look like someone that would have a building of that size. And I'm talking the building was massive. Like, it wasn't me judging them. It just wasn't realistic. So instead of just admiring it, I asked my questions, bro. Like, I wanted to investigate. And to be fair, he didn't really tell me nothing, but that led me to doing research around the building. And that's when I realized he was a tenant living under a property guardianship. So that curiosity is literally what made us thousands. But the deeper lesson I want you to understand here is you need to realize most people are not special. They're either just consistent or they're just really brave. A lot of the time, the difference between you and someone doing something impressive is the fact that they actually believe it's possible. Once you know something's possible, your brain will start looking for it. If someone else has done it, it's possible for you to emulate it. And I don't mean no copying, lazy framework. I mean just looking at what they've done and implementing that in your own way. Business isn't magic. Like, a lot of it is pattern recognition and understanding history can rhyme. Let's get into the shmoney, because I know you don't want to talk about the shmoney. But before we do that, please, can I remind you to like, subscribe, and show some love to the channel. I'm really trying to grow it, and I appreciate it a lot. Cool, so once we got the warehouse, we cleaned it up a little bit, made it a lot more presentable, got some props in there, and started advertising it as a filming location. We decided to charge £100 per hour, and we set a minimum of 2 hours per booking. This pricing was based on our competitor research, so we knew it was fair value for money. We studied the market and then we just launched. And you already know me, I'm on the marketing thing. So I made the Instagram, started the outreach, and just started getting it out there that we have this space. Obviously, we used our London lighting connections as well, and within a few days, we already had our first booking at the warehouse, and within a few weeks after that, we already had loads of bookings, and some of the biggest rappers in the industry actually coming down. Then here's where it gets even smarter. We didn't just rent out the warehouse, we upsold. Obviously, we already had London lighting, so that meant we could upsell our props, upsell our lighting, upsell our special effects. And sometimes we'd even use it as leverage. Imagine, we would have to shoot outside in the cold, it could be raining, a shoot could get cancelled, or it could just be uncomfortable for us. And we would be like, cool, why don't we go to our warehouse instead? It offered a better service to the customer, and sometimes it was even more convenient for us, and it just got us good exposure. We was cross-selling both ways, warehouse, lighting, lighting, warehouse, and it really did work. In terms of a real breakdown on the numbers, we was there from June to December, and across those 6 months, we would make 10 to 20 grand each month, every single month. In terms of our cost, it was pretty much just a £2,000 for rent and then about a £500 miscellaneous cost. So we had things like bins, we obviously needed that to get rid of the waste. Just little thing, little miscellaneous costs like cleaning products and stuff like that, but it wouldn't have been more than £500 a month. And then the only other cost we really needed sometimes was a warehouse manager, and we used to charge £10 to £15 an hour for someone to just sit there and basically make sure the warehouse didn't get put on fire. Like, do you know what I mean? It wasn't a difficult job. A lot of people come in there, had their own productions, own lighting or whatever as well. So let's say around £2,500 to £3,000 max costs for 6 months, and our revenue was probably just under 100K. Like, that's not hype, that is just our simple maths. It was a very profitable business model for us. But I do want to talk about the risk, because you sit and think, oh, this is a pattern, like, oh my God, I could go do that. Not everything is that simple. Obviously, the whole condition that we had to be out at 2 weeks' notice is a very, very precarious position to be in. At any point, she could have messaged us and said, guys, pack up. Obviously, it inevitably happened in the end, and I'll show you the email for it, but it could have happened in the first week. We just took the faith and hoped that we'd be okay, and we kept our operation lean so that in that event, we could move out swiftly, and also our operational costs were never too high, so it wouldn't be like, we're gonna miss out on too much money and we spent this money that we need to make back. Like, we thought about it in depth, how to mitigate that risk as much as possible. And in general, if you're running is one of the things you want to do, you want to keep your costs low. It will always be the least stress for you. Of course, you have to spend money to expand and scale, but for the most part, keeping expenses low as possible will always be a better avenue for you. Now, there's multiple reasons why this worked, and I want to go through a couple with you. One is because we got cheap access to a valuable asset. This is obviously not easy, and sometimes luck plays a part in it, but it happened, so I have to mention it. Two, we already had proven demand. We wasn't going in blindly to something that we didn't know was gonna work. We knew that if we got a place, we could make money from it. So we was very, very confident. Three is our aggressive outreach. I'm telling you, stop sleeping on marketing and stop sleeping on social media marketing. It is very easy to build a profile, take pictures, take videos, have social proof, and message people and sell them your service. Number four was down to our smart upselling. Having other products made things a lot easier. It made us more of a one-stop shop. It made us more useful, and it meant you was much more likely to use us than other people. And number five is the low overheads. I cannot stress, keeping expenses low is one of the best ways to make sure your business will actually survive and thrive, especially in the downtimes. Cheap assets plus high demand plus good sales equals leverage. You will make a lot of money. And there's another thing I want you to remember. You don't always have to own things. This was a warehouse we rented and we made a lot of money out of it. Uber doesn't own any cars. Airbnb doesn't own any houses. Sometimes having access to something is enough. You can just connect two dots and get the money that falls in the middle. So inevitably, we did get that email after about 6 months. It was a good run, but it did come and we did have to pack up and leave the warehouse. We tried to find another deal after that, but nothing was really convenient or making sense. So yeah, after that we signed an official lease on it was a bit smaller, it was about 4,000 square foot, but funny enough, it cost us 7 grand a month all in when you're looking at business rates and stuff like that. And we ended up having that for the next 3-4 years. It's only very recently we've given that space up. So if you want to know more about that, the numbers behind that, how that actually worked and the ups and downs, please comment below and I'll tell you about it. Maybe it'll be the next story time that I make. So yeah, the real lesson here isn't go and get a warehouse and copy exactly what I said. It's much more about opportunity hiding in inefficiency. One person's convenience is another person's leverage. One man's treasure is another man's junk. Curiosity pays. Negotiation pays. Putting yourself out there pays. Mutually beneficial agreements pay. Try and pay attention to what's going on around you and see if there's any gaps you could fill. See if you could make money by just connecting a dot. Like, you have to pay attention though, because if you're not doing that, things are gonna go over your head and you're not gonna realize that there's opportunities there. Sometimes it really does start just from one email. So yes, we made just under £100,000 in 6 months and it only really costed us about 12 grand to make. And it just started with asking the right questions. If you're a young person, you're watching this, don't overcomplicate business. Get your numbers right and a lot of the rest can fall into place after. If you want more real breakdowns like this, please subscribe and like the channel. Also send it to one of your friends, man. Let's get a community going. I have a WhatsApp community called The Long Game. It's for young people that are really interested in leveling up. Check my link in the description and you can join and be a part of it. If you got any more questions about the warehouse, then drop them below and love.